Hi, I'm Peter. I prepared a PowerPoint to have a technical presentation on several systems, so that to demonstrate I have the technical knowledge as the engineer consultant in the ICT, AV, and security. So here's the content of my technical presentation. First of all, I will describe the data center network, three-layered network architecture. After that, I will explain a simplified AV system, and with my job reference as an example. And then the security access control system and CCTV system. Last but not least, I will discuss on the system interface between the systems. For a typical data center network, there are three-layer switches, named the access layer, distribution layer, which is called the aggregation layer, and the core layer. All the end devices such as computer, printer, and servers will be connected to the access layer with a fast Ethernet. We will usually use Cat5, Cat5e, or Cat6 UTP cable. The number of switches actually depends on the number of end devices. The network can be partitioned into different VLANs so that to meet the usage requirement. The switch ports can be configured with access control so that it will map with the MAC address of the end device, so that it can control the accessibility of the network. The access layer switches will then connect to the distribution layer with Giga Ethernet. This distribution layer will perform the transfer of packet and load balancing. The distribution switches will then connect to the core switch with 10 Giga Ethernet, and then the core network has to have minimum 2 sets of the switches, so that in order to have redundancy and failover function. We'll use layer 2 switches in the access layer, and layer 3 switches in both the distribution and core layer. The core layer will then connect to the internet service provider by passing through a firewall, so that the internal network is protected. Each core switch will can connect to different internet service providers. So in the schematic here, it's only one core switch connect to one internet service provider, but indeed in real situation, we can have two ISP connected to both of the core switch. For the most popular network switch brands, there will be Cisco, Juniper, HP, H3C, PathWave, and Extreme Network. And for wireless access point, we can use Rockets and Aruba. They are relatively popular. For data center design, there are usually 3 topologies. The first one is the top of rack, the second one is end of row, and third one is middle of row. The middle of row one is actually not usually be used, so the most common one will be top of rack and end of row. They have their own advantage. For the top of rack, one advantage is that it can be easier to accessible to the network because there's one switch per rack, and the cable management can be cleaner because all the copper patch cord are within the rack, and no large copper infrastructure required between the rack. And also shorter patch cord can be used to connect between the server and the switches. For the end of row advantage, fewer switches are required to manage, and therefore less distribution port is required as well. The advantage of the middle of row is similar to the end of row. For audiovisual system, there are actually quite a large variety for the AV system, depends on the scale and user requirement. For example, a AV system for ballroom could be very different from those in the casinos. It can be a network AV system or a standalone system. But generally, we have to pay attention to several elements while we are doing the system design, including the control signal, video audio input source, the format of the source, and the resolution of the video. So here show a simplified AV system. It has different matrices to perform the audio-video switching. for example the HDMI matrix, video audio matrix, and central control unit. The central control unit is used to control all the equipment's on-off and matrix input-output control. HDMI is a proprietary signal incorporates audio and video together. The signal source for the HDMI signal could be from the AV table box or 4-box, or Blu-ray player, digital TV tuner, camera, microphone, or video conference. The maximum length for a HDMI signal to travel actually depends on the power of the equipment, but typically it can be traveled up to 50 feet only. So if the source is too far away from the matrix, we can use HDMI extender to extend the signal with structural cabling like UTP cable or fiber. We can also incorporate VGA and audio signal together to become an HDMI signal. The signals can be fed back from the HDMI matrix to video conference. For example, if someone doing a presentation with PowerPoint and he inputs the video signal to the AV table box, while at the same time he wants to share the slides with the video conference user. So maybe a PowerPoint slide signal have to fit into the video conference. For video matrix, signal source can be from AV table box, floor box, DVD player, or recorder. The analog signal is then processed inside the switches and fit into the LCD display by converting them into VGA power. For audio, most of the input are from microphone and CD player, or sometimes the content playing server. After processed by the matrix, the signal will feed into power amplifier for sound level adjustment, and then broadcast to the speaker. A live SATA override audio signal can be fed into the audio matrix, so that when there is a fire, the original background music would stop and then replaced by emergency message broadcast. The central control is used to control all the matrix, power on/off for all the devices. We can even control the lighting for creating different scenes. For example, a home theater, the lighting can be automatically dimmed when the movie is played. All these controls can be operated by the GUI interface, so that the users can easily select the source as well as the sound level output. We can nowadays use some fancy iPad GUI or desktop touch panel. There are quite many brands in the AV equipment. For example, DSP control matrix. There is Extron. Crestron and AMX are the market leaders for the control. Biamps, they have very reliable matrix, especially for the Cobonet. And there is Primer. For power amplifier, we have Crown like Proven, QSC, Toa, or Panasonic. Speaker like JBL, QSC, or Tannoy. Audio mixer, we usually use Yamaha or Soundcraft. For projector, some professional projectors like Christie, Panasonic, Epson, and Sanoi. Projector screen, we have Japa and Grandview. There are actually a lot of different brands of display in the market, so maybe LG, Samsung, Sharp, Sony, Panasonic, Philips. Samsung do have quite well display, and they have some display is incorporated with the video controller in the display. For video conference, we have Polycom, and Cisco, they have the video conference as well. For video controller, we have AMX and RGB. So I have a project reference here for myself. In 2014, I have to build a AV system for a Chinese temple. It's actually quite an interesting project because they want, in the normal days, some background music will be broadcast in the whole Chinese temple. And then when there's some special events, the visitor outside the temple can lifetime viewing the ceremony inside the main hall. The whole AV system will actually divide into audio system and video systems. So the schematic here, I'm showing the audio system first. There are actually 7 zones of signal source. So you can see in the schematic, in the left hand side and in the bottom, these are the signal sources. And then we have 11 zones of speaker output. and there's a CoBNet as a backbone network in between to transmit the audio packet. The signal source are mainly come from the wireless microphone, paging system, CD, USB player, and there is a background music server here as well, and some existing old music player system. The audio signal from the microphone will process through the Yamaha mixer before feed into the CoBNet. For other places, they will directly feed into the CoBNet. The audio signal are extracted to the network, will be sent to the backbone, and in the fiber backbone is here. And then the signal will be extracted by the BIAM's input-output DSP, and then sent to 11 zones of speakers through our 4 sets of 700 watts power amplifier. The audio content can also be recorded by a recorder. The operation manager in the control room can make lifetime paging throughout the paging system. And the switches here is used to transmit all the packets from the CoBNet to the fiber backbone. So this is the audio system. For the video systems, the schematic shown here, there are 5 places with high definition camera to capture all the videos, and there is 1 wireless portable high definition camera holding by a cameraman. So whenever there are some events, the image will be wirelessly lifetime feedback to the wireless video receiver. The other cameras are actually ceiling mount high definition Peterson camera. So the video captured will be transmitted back to the backbone network through a HDMI to fiber converter. The operator inside the control room can pan, tilt, and zoom the camera inside the control room through the network. So the keyboard here, the control signal will pass through the data network and then into the switches and then back to the HD camera. There's also a content playing server in systems so that they can broadcast some of the pre-record video source. All the video image will be transmitted to a 16 input 16 output press-on switches, and then they will output to 6 different displays, including the LED display, high definition monitor, or some of the portable projector. So the input is on the left hand side, the output is all in here, and in between we have a fiber network in it. And we can control the system through an iPad. We have the GUI interface for the users to control all the inputs, output, and sound output level. For the security access control system, basically we have quite a number of elements in the access control door, such as readers, door contact, release button, emergency brake glass, and electric lock. There are different types of readers, such as biometric reader or keypad. There are also different types of locks, such as electromagnetic lock, drop bolt, or electric strike. The power of the electric lock shall supplied by power supply in the equipment room. All these elements will feed the signal back to the card reader interface module, and we call it the CLI. The modules can be single or dual module, depends on the door whether it is a single reader door or a dual reader. The CLI signal will then transmit back to the intelligence system controller through a RS-485 signal. All the CLI signals shall directly feed back to the system controller, but if there is some cabling constraint, we can gather some of the CLI signal into a star topology multiplexer before transmitting the signal back to the system controller. The intelligent system controller shall have UPS power supply to back up it in case of power failure, so that the doors can still operate normally in a reasonable period. The intelligent system controller signal will then pass back to the security network. All the access log, alarm, access level, and access right door time schedule will be stored in the security system server. The time schedule of the doors means, for example, in the office hour, the door will always open, and the door will be locked after the office hour. In case there is any network interruption, the data shall be temporarily stored in the system controller. And the system operator should have a monitoring terminal inside the security room to monitor the status of the system, to see in case there's any alarm. During this system design, we shall consider the installation of CLI in different places. There are actually two methods to locate the CLI. One is to locate them in the secure side of each door, or in the nearest equipment room. Another installation method is to centralize all of the CLI and intelligence system controller together in a main control room. There are actually different advantages, pros and cons for both methods. For the method we installed it in the secure side of the wall, we can save up quite a large number of the cabling, because most of the cable are only short distance from the doors to the secure side or to the closest equipment room. For the centralized CLI method, it is easier to manage because all the modules are placed together, and it is more secure, as not everyone can access to the module easily. For the access door design, there are actually quite a different number of varieties, because it actually depends on the door usage. Depends on the function of the door and how securely the door needed, such as whether it is a dual reader or it is only a monitored door with door contact. Some of the situation we will need interlock door, which means when there's two doors to access a room, one of the door has to be closed before another door can be opened. For the access control central system, Honeywell, Lenel, and Siemens are few of the market leaders. For the accessories such as door release button or dry contact, we have Adamco or Calypso. For door intercoms, we have AFIL, National, Philips, or Ermit. For car park access control, we have Amano or Federal. Electric locks, we have Sprint or Trimac. For UPS, we have APAC, Eaton, or Labor. I have a job reference here. It's in 2011 to build the access control for a theme park. I have to integrate more than 300 access doors to the system, and they're all spreadly located in office building and some of the show areas. So the schematic here show part of the network. The CLI signals are transmitted back to the intelligent system controller, and then transmitted to the security backbone. The access record of the door status are retained inside the server. And there are actually two sets of servers because a redundant server is required. There are main control rooms and local incident control room. So the operator in both control rooms can monitor all the doors. The system can also be used to produce staff badges and visitor badges, so the access control for all the people can be easily managed. We can also integrate burglar alarm into the system. So the schematic here show one of the example of burglar alarm in a financial office with a safe. So there are panic alarm button in some of the staff desk, so that whenever someone is broken into a financial office, the staff can acknowledge the security guard. There are keyboard to control the on-off of the motion sensor inside the safe. And they will need password to activate it and deactivate it. The system is connected to a 24 hours call center, such that when there's an alarm, the call center will contact the destination person, or maybe call the police if there's no one answer the phone. It actually depends on the policy how to set up between the call center and the burglar alarm owner. And it is the signal will be passed through to the intelligent system controller, and then all the logs will be recorded in the server. The last system that I want to discuss is the CCTV system. Here are the slides of a simplified CCTV architecture. The camera can divide into analog system or digital system. For analog cameras, the video signal carried by the coaxial cable will be transmitted to the digital video recorder for recording. The analog signal can be transmitted further to the CCTV data network for retention by connecting the DVR to the network backbone. If there is only unshielded twist pair structural cabling available between the camera and the DVR, we can use a balun in between, such that the analog coaxial cable can be carried by the UTB cable to the digital video recorder. For digital camera systems, because the camera output is already in H.264 or motion JPEG, so they're all in digital format so that they can directly plug into the CCTV data network. The digital camera can obtain the power from the UTB cable by using a PoE switch. But for panel zoom camera, I recommend to have individual separate power supply to the camera, because the mechanism would use up quite of the large power, and if the PoE switch do not have enough power to supply to the camera, it could be have some effect on the pan tilt zoom action, or some of the effect on the video image. A monitoring terminal with the pan tilt zoom control keyboard can be used to control all the pan tilt zoom camera throughout the data network. The CCTV image can be displayed in a video wall, and thus the video controller is required. The system server can provide the state-of-art video analysis nowadays, such as the facial recognition, people counting, car plate recognition, intrusion monitoring to generate some of the alarms if someone get into some of this monitored zone. And they can do color recognition as well. The server size actually depends on several parameters, including the video resolution, some frame rate, and the retention days. The video management system brands, we have, for example, Bosch, Milestone, or Delma. Delma usually target on casino CCTV, or we have Genetec and Honeywell. For camera brands, there are Bosch, SS, Pelco, Samsung, or Hikvision. Usually the camera brands, they have their own network video recorder, and there are some other brands, they do other network video record as well. For example, like Lenovo and Huawei. Here is one of my job reference to build a CCTV system for a hotel in 2012. There are actually more than 170 cameras throughout all the hotel buildings, in each floor, in the corridors, in all the common areas, including restaurants, concierge desks, and amenity floors such as gym rooms and swimming pool. The lift camera will also be integrated into the CCTV network. Most of the cameras are digital, and they obtain the power from the PoE switch. There are backbone connection in each of the floors into the CCTV equipment rack, and the switches are supplied by a UPS power supply. So each floor will be the same, and then the analog lift camera will be integrated to the data network by a video encoder in the ground floor of the equipment room. The servers are actually located in the basement of the equipment room. The security operator in the ground floor in the security control room can monitor all the videos and all the cameras, to control all the cameras through a Pentium Zoom keyboard. To the end of my presentation, I would like to have a discussion on the system interface between different systems. The slides here list some of the examples. Firstly, the fire system with the AV systems. When there's a fire, the background music broadcast by the audio-visual system will be stopped and then replaced by emergency audio broadcasts with some of the flashlight in the scene. The interface can use low-level dry contact because this is more reliable. The second example is the fire system with the security system, so that when there is a fire, all the critical life-saving doors will be opened automatically, and those door locks will be unlocked. There should be some alarm notifying the management officer or the firefighter. The system interface can be achieved by low-level dry contact interface. So actually, because in all the fire systems, they use dry contact interface because this is more reliable. For security and CCTV system interface, the doors are, if the doors are improperly opened or door false alarm, the Pentium Zoom camera nearby the door can pan to the door automatically to record and monitoring the door. This can be achieved by high-level server-to-server interface or low-level dry contact interface. High-level interface is recommended because only 6 server configurations is required. If you use low-level dry contact interface, it will have a lot of dry contact. For fire system and building management system interface, some critical ventilation valve can be opened when there's a fire. For security system and HR time attendance interface, the staff information between both systems can have some data exchange, such that the security system owns some of the staff information, so that when they do this staff card issue, it will be more easy, and they can manage all the visitor information and the staff information at the same time. Due to time constraint, I can only briefly present the basic knowledge, and I'm actually looking forward to meet you again for deeper discussion on the system architecture and some of the systems highlights. So thank you for your time again.